The Stanley Cup playoffs continue, and for the Winnipeg Jets, the only way they're going to continue for the next little while is if they stepped up last night. And boy, did they, as they pick up a 5-3 win over the St. Louis Blues in a game that they absolutely had to have. And quite frankly, for most of them, it was a performance that they absolutely had to have. Look, Scheifele has been excellent in this series. Now there's some concern because he plays 8 minutes, gets absolutely railroaded by Braden Shen, and then doesn't come back. So no update on his status, and it's this time of year. So that's going to probably be a consistent theme until the game that they play coming up tomorrow. But that would be a really tough loss for them because his playmaking is just on full display. And out here in Calgary, I was on Sportsnet 960 last Friday, and one of the texters asked a question, who is the most underrated player in all of sports? And honestly, now thinking about it, I think Scheifele could definitely fall into that category because I just don't think people appreciate the elite level of talent that this guy has. Like, he is, I think, a really good offensive player, and his playmaking is just, it is marvelous. Some of the passes that he is able to make. And look, like, a lot of times it's not just like oh wow, he somehow pinballed it through 5 guys and it got to the front of the net, but it's just the quick decisions. It is the puck is in the perfect place always, and it sets up Connor for that first goal, and it is coming off of winning a lot of battles along the wall, and that's where Winnipeg, I think, really showed their true colors in this game. This is a different team than Winnipeg teams we have seen in the past, but I guess the identity of this Winnipeg Jets team is always, we're going to be tough to play against. And I think sometimes you can look at, Scheifele to a certain degree, Connor, Ehlers, Perfetti, some of them, like they're not, this isn't Dustin Byfuglien and Blake Wheeler running over people or something like that, but it is those plays along the wall that they are able to create offense off of very quickly. And you saw it in that game. Suter, I thought, had a tough one. And the play behind the net on the first goal, Appleton gets clipped by something. He believes it's a high stick. St. Louis disagrees, and the referee agrees with St. Louis. But as Appleton is slowly getting up and kind of grabbing at his face here, as he's grabbing at his face, Suter gives him an extra shot. The problem is the puck's behind Suter, and then it's to an angle just kind of to his 3 o'clock, and then it's right beside him because it went in the back of the net. And he had a couple that he got beat on. Appleton beat him in the corner on the second goal as well, maybe third. Either way, Appleton beat him in the corner. That helped set up another goal. So Suter had a bit of a rough night, but it is off of a board battle. Scheifele gets it, and a lot of times, I think when we talk about like, oh, he won this board battle, it is with brute strength or whatever. You can use talent in those ones as well. And his hands, and again, the playmaking ability, his vision of the ice, and just his instincts in general. He gets the puck. It is off his stick so quick. And now Suter again has taken a guy behind the net. You have a forward who has lost the battle in front. Texier has lost Connor, who does a really good job of getting to an open area. A lot of times you just want to get like right front of the net. He takes a bit of half of a step back. Now he's open for a shot, and now it's in the back of the net. So just a brilliant setup, and something that they will really, really miss if Scheifele is out of the lineup. But when he does exit the lineup, enters, I guess, the third line. They were brilliant in this game for Winnipeg. And I have said this is the best third line in the NHL. And it was one of the reasons why I was talking about Winnipeg kind of needing to go get that second line center. Because if you can lock up, like that top line is going to be good. You know, like Scheifele, Connor, and whoever. If you can get that second line a real legitimate center, and then you can roll with a bottom 6 with Lowry, Nemesnikov, Niederreiter, and Appleton. Like that is depth that few teams are able to put out there at this point in the National Hockey League in this era, with a lot of stars taking up a lot of the salary cap. And so that line just completely controlled things for them. Like I said, I thought Appleton was great. Lowry was really good. Nemesnikov was fantastic. The speed that he still has and the finishing ability that he has as well to be able to put things away. I loved what I saw from Winnipeg in this game. So I just think like that third line is enough that, like, obviously the high-end talent on St. Louis is there. Kyrou, Thomas. I would put Snuggerud in there at this point. He's been excellent in this series. Buchnevich has had some great moments as well. That high-end talent is there for St. Louis, but that depth isn't. Not to the point of Winnipeg. And, like, honestly, I don't know who has that. And in basketball, we talk about how depth is a little bit overblown in the NBA playoffs. It ain't in the NHL playoffs. How many times have we seen, like, everyone goes for the big moves at the trade deadline, but the team that has the success is the one that shores up their depth? Now, the counterpoint to that is Colorado did it, and those guys aren't doing shit right now. But still, that third line can win you hockey games. And when you are trying to win 4 out of 7, having a third line that can win you 1 certainly makes life easier. And it just helped settle Winnipeg into this game in a really important way. They played an excellent hockey game throughout. They were so superior in this game. And then the problem. And it is funny because in the first couple of games, or the last couple of games, I guess, I have said, look, it's 12 goals, it's 2 games, it's 2 really bad losses. I don't think it's Hellebuyck's fault entirely. Now, and then we got into some discussions about, like, maybe not every high danger chance needs to go in, but you can't blame him for any of those goals. And now they pick up a win, and they only give up 3, and 1 is in the final minute after they've iced the game away. And I actually had more of a problem with his game in this one than I did the other 2. Like, this performance on last night, Wednesday night, was more in line with what people, I think, the perception was of the last 2 games, if that makes sense. Like, I thought he actually played pretty well in the 2 games leading up to it. It was just he didn't make those key saves at key times. I thought in this game that they won, I thought he was putrid. That second goal, that just can't go in. And when you are a Winnipeg team that is already really fragile, you have some concerns about that. And so when you now feel like you can't make a mistake, that becomes really problematic. Like, this game, it's 5-3, 4-2, basically. You get an empty net goal, and then St. Louis gets one, like I said, after everything's been iced away. It shouldn't have been that close. Not even a little bit. Winnipeg completely controlled this hockey game. And so this was the one that I was like, man, Hellebuyck, dude, like, I don't know, man. Like, that was a really, really bad performance on a night where, now, everyone around him stepped up and picked him up and got him there, but that was the one that was the most concerning to me from a Winnipeg standpoint. It wasn't the 2 games leading up to this one. That game, that was so bad. He almost cost them on a night where I thought they were soundly outplaying St. Louis. And so, look, there were a lot of problems in the 2 games leading up to it, where I thought St. Louis really outplayed Winnipeg, and then you're not getting the big saves at the big times, and so it all snowballs. But if Winnipeg is going to have to just whoop that ass to this extent in order to win games by 2, that's where you start to have a real problem between the pipes. So there is, I honestly, I came away from this one, even though they won, more concerned about Winnipeg than I was going into it. And that I was not necessarily anticipating. It is kind of funny though. Like, I, again, out here in Calgary, do a trivia night on Wednesday, so I wasn't able to watch this live. I get to, when I'm doing that, like, I kind of tune out from all the sports because I got this thing to focus on. And so I walked into Pazzi, where I do this downtown, and they got the games on the TV, and I see Winnipeg against St. Louis, and St. Louis is up 4-1. I was like, oh my god! Like, this is at home. This is a train wreck. And so start setting up, look up, and say, oh, this is a replay from the okay. So Sportsnet duped me a little bit on that, because I, like, in my head, because I know I got the podcast today, I'm like, that this is a complete collapse and utter failure. I don't think they've quit. I just think they're overwhelmed. Blah 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 blah. And then you look up, it's like, well, that's kind of a shitty whiteout. Oh, it's the last game. Okay, good. And actually, honestly, the only way I caught it was I looked over and they had the Montreal game on, and it said pregame coverage live now. It's like, boy, that. A little late for that, isn't it? If we're in the second. Oh, I see. So that's just me being weird. But on the St. Louis side, I think they really showed how far behind the Jets they really are here. Again, Winnipeg has not played well in the 2 previous games, but this is awfully similar to the LA-Edmonton series. When these 2 teams are playing at their best, there is no question who is the better team, and it is the one who resides in Central Canada. The Blues are just, like, forward group 1 through 4, blue line, all of it. Even when the goalies are playing at their best, that they're not close. They're just simply not close. Winnipeg is so much better than they are. And so maybe St. Louis is able to be the banana peel for the Jets now in the next 2, because we've seen Winnipeg doesn't exactly bounce back all that quickly. So if St. Louis can come out, get a good start on home ice like they did back in game 3, then they have a chance to again put the fear of God in the Jets because their goalie isn't giving them the confidence to be able to bounce back in that sort of a way. So again, I would just have some concerns if I was the Jets, but looking at it from a St. Louis Blues standpoint, I'm not saying, hey, no, we can bounce back because we're better than them. Say, hey, we can bounce back because they might get a little spooked here. That's basically what it comes down to. A reminder that if you need some fuel for watching the playoffs or hanging out on the stream or you're gaming, Swift Energy is a great spot for that. Check out swiftenergy.gg and use the code PKPrimetime to get that 25% off.